Hello, I'm Will Forte, and don't be alone with Jay Kogan. Although he's not really alone here, there are other people in the room. So I'm not as scared because I know that there are people who will jump in and save me if they have to.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
Hi, Don't Be Alone with Jay Koganites. It is me, Jay Kogan, and you are here with me on Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan. I'm so glad you're here. I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to hear from you. Please write to me at dbawjk@gmail.com with all your questions and suggestions, and subscribe to the show when you can. All it is clicking a button. No harm, costs you nothing. But I need subscribers, and I want you to be a subscriber. You listen, you know you like the show. Everybody likes the show. I get so many compliments, but people just say, I don't subscribe. Well, you should subscribe. It's easy. And if you subscribe enough, I can afford to buy my third home. And that's really what's important, isn't it? Also, we have a spectacular show tonight. I assume you all listen at night. That's the only time to listen to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan is at night. We have a great guest. Will Forte is here to talk about his life, his comedy, his weird road to becoming a comedy star. And he's met a lot of resistance and had a lot of resilience. He started out in the financial world, left that bravely to come to Los Angeles and try to make his way through show business. He started out as a writer. He got fired from some gigs. Other gigs he did better at. Then he took a chance and left a really successful show to go audition for SNL, and he got that, and we all know the history. He's been up and he's been down. He's had movies released that didn't do well, but that are classics, like MacGruber. He's had TV shows that got canceled, but they're fantastic, like Last Man on Earth. I mean, he is a font of knowledge, wisdom, and humor, and also just one of the nicest guys on earth. And you'll hear about that. If you listen, you'll just hear the goodness in his heart. He's adorable, he's sweet, and you're going to be thrilled to get to know him as I am getting to know him. And so here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Will Forte.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
So, Will, we're rolling. We're rolling.
Oh, jeez.
Welcome. No.
I'm ready.
Performance face.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, Will, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. And I just want to say that I'm an inordinate fan of your work.
Thank you very much.
I say that to every guest, every single guest, whether I mean it or not. So
that you're an inordinate
I'm a
fan of my
guests.
work?
I'm a fan of
everyone?
I tell everybody
That's so
I love
sweet.
Will Forte's work. It's unbelievable. You hold a very sort of unique space in comedy, I think, because you don't look immediately ridiculous. You know.
Thank you.
You know, you don't look immediately ridiculous, but you are willing to play very ridiculous.
Thank you very much.
And I'm impressed with that thing. Particularly, a friend of mine, Dan Pasternak, told me to watch the potato chip sketch on Saturday Night Live.
Oh man, that's one of my favorites. I got to do that with John Solomon, and I wrote that, and Jason Sudeikis came in and then added some nice touches. Just as an actor in it, I mean, some of the great jokes in there are from him.
So now I think the audience should pause this show and then go watch online the potato chip sketch to know what we're talking about. But just so you know, it takes place at NASA. There's some kind of a NASA thing, but everybody has a strange Southern accent, as though it's a Tennessee Williams play or some sort of old Civil War.
It's a lot of stuff mixed into one. It's funny because we there's like a 7-minute version of that in the dress rehearsal. We did a super long one. They made us cut it down for air.
Right.
So I've always wanted to get a hold of there's so much stupid stuff in the dress rehearsal that I think people would like if they like that sketch. But
it's so oddly formal and antebellum that I just think, where did that come from? Where did you decide to do that?
That was just one of those ones where I was walking around the streets of New York one day, and I just started talking about, in that weird voice that my character does, you know, I don't want you to dig into my potato chips. And just put that on a voice memo.
Right.
And then cut to 6:30 in the morning, the day that you're supposed to turn in stuff. I hadn't written anything yet. John Solomon and I were supposed to write something, but he was working with somebody else and it went way long. So he comes in and we're like, why don't we just try to write this and make this into something? And it just started crazy and just went crazier and crazier and went all over the place. Probably, it might surprise you and it might not surprise you. I think it probably took an hour and a half to write because we just, we were not filtering anything. We just kind of went nuts and had fun and
it felt like you were trying to have
where
fun.
It wanted to go.
Exactly. It felt like it was all fun. Like the fact that it was at NASA made no sense at all. Like there's no particular point to it other than the formality with which people are greeting each other.
I played the thing and then it was like, started at NASA, I guess, right? I mean, that was, I think, immediate. That was the first thing. And then just,
It was how was the 50th experience going back for that?
It was so fun.
Yeah.
It just was, and I the 40th was really fun, right? And that was a year I got to be in that movie Nebraska, and what a fun experience it was to get to do everything, all these things that I never thought I'd get to do in my life. Go to Cannes, go to the Oscars, like that was a huge deal.
Sure.
And going to the 40th anniversary was a couple months after that, maybe even a month. And it was, that experience at the 40th was so much cooler than the Oscars. I'm sure it's because the Oscars, I felt like I had no business being there.
You feel like a stranger there, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like part of the SNL family. So I felt like, oh, this is kind of, I felt a part of that experience. Well, the 50th was even cooler than this experience. I never thought anything would top.
Yeah.
And it was just wall to wall with special experiences.
Well, Will, I've had you on the show because the show Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan is all about people solving my problems.
Let me fix you.
Yes, exactly. So you have gone through many changes in your life in terms of like you first started going in, you were working as investing, right? Did you start out in
yes,
the world of
but
investing?
I was not very far along.
Right.
I was a cold caller for this guy Brett Satchelov at Smith Barney Shearson, and it had gotten to the point where he said, hey, I would like to put you through the Series 7 test, which is what the test you got to take before you can be a legit handler of finances. And that was where I had to make that decision, like, oh, am I going to, is this, and I know that if I had done that, there's no way I would have done anything else because I would have felt beholden to him, because that's, a move like that where somebody puts you through the classes, like, I would honor that person by
trying your best to make that work, and
that thing that wasn't right for me for the rest of my life
until you were arrested.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But and then you came to LA and you did a lot of things. You were a writer on shows before you were a performer. I was told that you were fired from David Letterman's show. Is that right, or something?
I was.
Right. So you've been through a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And
a lot of ups and downs.
And that's the point. I don't know that I have the resilience that you do. It seems like you've bounced back from anything that has been either a change or a perceived bump in the road. You bounce back bigger and better than ever. And so, like, how do you do it? And what's your advice for a guy like me who's like timid and shy and can't?
Well, I'll tell you, I have a lot of that in me.
Yeah.
And so when I first tried to get an agent, I went to college with this guy, Matt Rice, right?
Oh, I know. Yes, I know who Matt Rice is.
Big agent at UTA. He was the guy I knew from college who was an agent. And so I wrote some stuff. I was writing with this woman, Ann Blunden at the time, Hutchinson now, but like, we gave our stuff to Matt, and if he had said, no, I don't like it, I would have just thought, oh, you're right, I shouldn't have even tried to be a writer, and I would have probably been working as a financial consultant.
Okay. Yeah.
But I just got lucky that this one guy that I knew not only liked the stuff that we gave him, but was in the early years of this, he was going to be this guy who
Right.
was one of the great agents in town.
You grabbed onto him at the beginning and rode the wave.
He was the guy I knew. I mean, if he was like the crappiest agent in town, that would have been my agent. But I just got lucky that he was amazing. So these downtimes, you know, I get fired from Letterman. I called him. I'm like, well, I guess that's it. I guess my career's over. And he's the one who says, oh no, don't worry about that. You know, just the fact that you have that as a credit is a big deal, and people will take a chance on you. So I didn't know that. It was tough when I got fired because he's a hero of mine. Letterman's one of my all-time heroes, comedy heroes. Right. So that I felt like a real disappointment there.
Well, he didn't walk into your office and fire you personally. He didn't take you by the scruff of the neck and throw you out of the studio.
No, he did not. He did not. He didn't stop them from firing me either, that I know of, unless they secretly. No. I love him.
Sure.
I'm so thrilled to have gotten a chance to be a part of that show because it's meant so much to my life, and everything works out the way it's supposed to, right? So I came out of there, somehow got a job on a sitcom. The Army show was, I think that was the next thing I did. And then that led to more and more with Dave Higgins.
Sure.
Yeah. That was a great cast.
Yeah, it was a great cast. So you're working on these TV shows and got to that 70s show at some point?
Yes.
Were you performing at the Groundlings at the same time you're doing that kind of stuff? Or did the Groundlings come before or later?
Basically just be writing. And then you'd have like a 2-month hiatus period. And so I would sometimes do a Groundling show during that period. And then, the one particular hiatus period, I said, I'm going to do this Groundling show. And I got lucky that was the show that Lorne Michaels came to.
Right.
And then, well, this is an interesting story that some people know, but I got the audition and I was right away shitting my pants like, oh my, because I mean, the heart of it is that I had already taken this one dream of mine, which was to work at the Letterman show, right? And it just exploded and I sucked at it. And I was like, this is going to be the same thing. Like, am I going to just explode this other dream? So to me, it made more sense in my head to like, not even, it just made no sense because it's like you're like, oh, I'll keep this dream alive by not exploding it, but then that means you would never attain it. Right. So
just so you know, Rob Burnett is not at the corner of every dream. Right.
Well, the other thing, what I ended up, long story short, finally they convinced me because I was saying, oh, I have under contract at 70 show. I can't come do it. And they finally convinced me to go and at least audition. Right. So I did it and I got the job and then I turned it down. And I just, all my friends thought, oh, what a punk rock decision. And it was more just like this scared little kid who was terrified of failing.
That was a terrible decision. It worked out, but who tells Saturday Night Live no? I don't know.
I was just terrified. So they came back a year later after I had been at 70 Show. I mean, part of the deal was 70 Show was an amazing show to write on. The hours, writing hours can be horrendous. Sure. And this was like 9:30 to 4:30 every day. Wow. So it just, a bunch of really sweet, nice people who were really funny. We were having a blast, making a show that I thought was really fun and good. Right. And then I think they had just been picked up for 2 seasons too, which most of the stuff I had worked on was like 13 and out. So I just thought, I got to be smart. I'm going to suck at SNL. And
most shows I worked on are picked up like 4 days at a time. They just took like Monday. We'll tell you Thursday if you're picked up for another 4 days.
Well, one thing I will say, Mark Brazil, who was the creator of 70 Show, he pulled me aside and he said, hey, go frickin' do this, you dumbass. Right. Like, you will have a job here. If it doesn't work out there, you got this job here. And really, like, there was he took away.
Right. All the fear.
Yeah. Like, I was still terrified of the show, but
he's a good guy.
Great. Yeah, he was a great boss, and in a lot of ways, that was the thing that kind of pushed me over. My girlfriend at the time was very supportive, also Amy, and she, so it was. I had a lot of people push me in the right direction.
But it is that, I mean, going to Saturday Night Live is a little daunting because it's, it's Saturday Night Live, and it's very competitive.
Yep.
It's difficult. It's not, Parnell was fired and came back. Like, there's things that happen to really, really funny. There's nobody funnier than Chris Parnell, and even he got
the
booted.
most underrated.
Yeah.
Performer of all time. Like, he is so very good.
But just shows you how competitive it is, how difficult it is, and kind of that's how they like it there. They like people sort of warring a little bit to make the show. Yeah. And so I can understand why it doesn't immediately think I got to get there automatically.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you did. It's very, very funny work. Amazing.
I am too, man. Well, it was a good lesson for me too, like to just do it. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about money stuff. That stuff all works itself out, and just try to do stuff that sounds scary.
Yeah,
because it is terrifying at first, but you get past that part, and then it becomes really fun.
Yeah,
and it only took about 6 years for me to get over the fear.
Well, I mean that's quick for a lot of people. 6 years isn't bad. That's good. I think the Groundlings and growing up in LA and trying to be concerned about comedy makes me a little bit tougher skinned about that stuff.
Yeah.
What I'm not tougher skinned about is failure on a career level, or career, like big shows that have made it. Like, I made a movie called The Wrong Guy, which I
have seen.
Okay.
Now that never came out.
Never
in theaters,
came out.
Right?
Never came out. And so
that movie is so good. That boggled my mind. I remember.
It's a very funny movie, and I tried to bond with you on the strike line talking about MacGruber, which was released and was fantastic, but has the same spirit. It has the same let's make jokes, let's be funny spirit, and people have found it. People have found The Wrong Guy. Some people have found it.
Where can they find it? Like,
it's available for free on YouTube, and it's also on DVDs and other places. But we've played it at the comedy festivals, and we played it at other places. There's a small tight knit group of people who cultishly like the movie, but which is fine. It's
so good.
But
did you write it too?
I wrote it with Dave Foley and Dave Higgins from the Army Show, and it was directed by David Steinberg. And who is very funny, and it stars Dave Foley and Dave Higgins, and it's great. But I only mention it not to build myself up. But if you want to go watch it and write me fan letters, that's fine.
It is really,
but
really
it's to say
great.
that MacGruber is so funny and so sharp, and every beat of it is there to make you laugh. I mean, it's just magical in that how silly and funny.
Thank you very much. I mean, that was a movie we loved. It was a good lesson because I had. It's so different when I'd been in a situation before where I didn't get to. I'm kind of a control freak, and when something is out of your control, and you change it around a little bit, to try to make it more palatable to a bigger audience,
or to get through the gauntlet of working with people in the studios or whatever else. Right. Sometimes you have to make compromises.
And this was one where we were able to, because a lot of this is due to Lauren, just surrounding us like a pop-up air and just letting us do whatever we wanted to do. So we got to make the exact movie we wanted to make, and it bombed just as hard as the other one I'm talking about, but it's so much easier to take when you know that you stood behind every decision that was made. I mean, obviously there were budgetary things where we would have done different things. Isn't it funny, though, to be so proud of a failure? Like I am, I have that experience. I'm like so proud of The Wrong Guy, and it is complete and abject failure. It made no money, but it is. But that's the weird thing. At least ours was out there, and then like now you can see it somewhere on a. I don't even know where you could see it right now.
Paramount Plus.
But yeah, you could. Is that?
I think so.
And but like, how frustrating to know that for you gotta, hand out a DVD copy. There should
I describe it to people. I stop
Yeah.
them on the street and just describe the movie to people. They get tired of it. It's fine.
Well, it's like, and I thought I was going to have that experience with Coyote versus Acme.
Yes.
And then we just got the news recently that this
was bought.
Catch Up Entertainment bought it, and so, but I know that pain of just that frustration of knowing that you made this really good movie and that people can't see it.
First of all, when
so I feel your frustration.
When you did Nebraska, did you feel capable of doing dramatic work?
Oh man, I was terrified. I did get to go to Ireland right before and do a fully dramatic movie, this tiny Irish movie called Run and Jump. It was basically a bunch of Irish people, and me. Sharon Horgan played a role in it, and Maxine Peake is fantastic in it. Who's British. But yeah, so I didn't have to do an accent, but it was a really wonderful way to have this experience of getting used to acting like that, because it's scary. I didn't know if I could do it, and this Steph Green, who directed that movie, somehow reached out to me and said, "I think you could do this," and I was like, "I don't. You really do?" And she's like, "Yeah, come do it." And it was like Ireland. My agent said, "Look, why don't you try it out? If it turns out really bad and you suck at it, nobody will probably see it."
Right.
And I'm like, "You're right." Now I'll get to go over to Ireland and check that out. So I did it, and that was a very valuable experience to go into it. It was Steph's first feature, I think. So it was.
She's finding her way while you're finding your way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a really pleasant thing. She's awesome, and it was, and I really was proud of how that movie turned out, and kind of came back maybe for 5 or 6 weeks, and then went to Nebraska and was still terrified.
Right.
I'm such a fan of Alexander Payne's and obviously Bruce Dern.
Is there a more intimidating actor than Bruce Dern? I don't think I can't think of one. I mean, I'm sure he's nice in person, but he's had so many roles where he's been the villain or the heavy, and that look, that dead-eyed stare that he has.
I tell you, he was almost instantly just lovable, supportive. He so quickly put me at ease.
Oh, good. He killed John Wayne in the movie.
Yeah.
He's the guy who shot John Wayne.
Only person ever to kill John Wayne, right?
Yeah.
No, it was great because Alexander is super busy doing everything, and he was fantastic to me also. But like, I am just pretty much every day I'm right next to Bruce Dern for just hours and hours. A lot of times we're stuck in a car together, and he just could not have been a better teacher and a better partner in these scenes.
Do you guys have fart rules, etiquette? Because you're in the car together. I don't know. Long road trips kind of require.
I learned about on-set farting etiquette pretty early on from a bad experience. I'm not even going to bring it up, but I did take a chance and was met with some thumbs downs. Yeah.
Last Man on Earth was spectacular.
Thank you.
So that was incredible, and I know secondhand that you almost killed yourself making that thing. Like that, you ran yourself ragged. Didn't sleep. Didn't eat, like you tried to write the show, star the show, run the show in the way that showrunners do, but it's too much for one person, and you managed to somehow at least do it for a little while. How did you do it?
I don't know. I mean, it really was too. It was too much.
Yeah.
It was. I could never do it again.
Yeah.
That version of it, like MacGruber, was a different situation because you're just making 8. I'm talking the TV series, not the. You're making 8, so you can write everything beforehand, then film everything. Everything is compartmentalized, so you're doing. But there, you're on this schedule. You got to pump out. They have the air dates.
Right.
So we probably got 4 episodes written by the time we start shooting in 18 episode order. So like then by the time you're shooting, you got to keep writing, pushing forward with that. And then after like 2 weeks, you start editing too. So you're writing, acting, and editing. And then the sound mixes come and the spotting sessions and it's nonstop.
Time suck.
Yeah.
Gigantic time suck. If I could just advise you to go back in time and have 10 scripts ready instead of 4, that really would, I think would have helped you. They really would have helped you.
Well, I mean, you every season, I would have this hopeful, I'd go in with optimism that, we learned so many lessons from however many we had done up to that point, which is true.
Right.
But then you're also like, you still need to try to do shows that are different than the other ones we've done. So
every show
you learn these lessons, but then it
doesn't matter.
You're veering off course anyway. So it
yeah.
just took, you're taking longer to try to find new ways to go, and it's just it's same old thing. But I look back now, I was always proud of the show and delighted by the experience. But it was, when it was canceled, I hate saying it, but I needed it to be canceled. I was just physically and mentally down. I started drinking too much. I was like that using that as a crutch, and so I needed a break from that, and I was able to kind of break that cycle, but I don't think I would have broken that cycle.
It's easy to make an excuse when you're that pressured to do whatever you need to do to sort of survive, but don't realize sometimes that the thing that you're using to relieve the pressure is also the thing that's causing more pressure in other ways.
Yeah.
So, it's a drag. Well, thankfully,
I wouldn't drink like during the show or anything.
No. But I mean, it's like
but
to just relieve. Yes.
Really.
Let's talk for a moment about Val Kilmer, your roommate. So you were roommates with him while you were making MacGruber?
No. So MacGruber happened. We somehow talked him into being in MacGruber.
Right. Okay.
He had a place in this beautiful place, which I actually never went to, but Yorma and I think John Solomon, definitely Yorma and his wife Mari, went to his place in New Mexico about 2 years after the movie. He was going to sell his place, and he was living in Malibu at a place he was renting, and he had a dispute with his landlord. So he said, I need to find a new place. Can I stay with you while I'm looking?
Figuring it out, yeah.
I forget how he phrased it. It sounded like this was a party on a Saturday. It sounded like he'd be with me till Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, he showed up on Monday, and then his assistant showed up a couple hours later with 2 enormous duffel bags with books, just of books. So I'm like, I don't think
you might be here
Wednesday.
a while.
I mean, I don't know why that there was just something very final about that.
Sure.
Very, very, that's a lot of stuff to
If you're dragging a library with you, you're going to stay for a while. Yeah.
And it was a delight.
That's great.
It wasn't 2.5 months straight. It'd be a lot of like, I'd have to go out of town and I'd be back and we'd be there for 4 or 5 days together, and then he went to San Francisco for a couple days for some kind of job, and then he'd come back, and it was really fun.
Did you have rules like, Val, you got to do the dishes, I'll take out the trash, that kind of stuff?
I do remember he was a great roommate. It was always fun to have him around. He's just the most interesting person. His personality is, he's so smart and funny and kind of cocky in this fun way, like playful cocky, like pretending to be cocky almost, but then silly at the same time. Like I remember he came in one time and he just had he was wearing his boxers on his head, and it was just like really, and we just had a normal conversation with his boxers on his head. And there's no winking. He's like just really commits to these bits. He's just really funny. And then out of nowhere, sometimes he'll just launch into a bit. And I have a couple that I'll, on my phone that I just treasure. He was so funny, and I still can't believe that. Well, that we got to talk him into doing the movie at all. B, that somehow we maintained a friendship, and to get to have that experience as being roommates.
And I read somewhere where you thought about maybe doing The Great Race together. Is that true?
Amazing Race, yeah.
Amazing Race?
Yeah, I love The Amazing Race.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been following it recently, but I went through a stretch where I was super into it, and he came back and was like, basically, this is your reality TV. It's gonna rot your brain. Right. And I said, well, it's pretty good. Let's check it out.
Right.
And so he sat down and actually was pretty enthralled, and we just at some point said, we got to do this, right? We got to be a team.
Right.
I think he even pitched it to me.
Right.
And so it made all the sense in the world to me.
Sure, at that moment.
And then we called our agents, and they were like, nope.
Right.
No way. And I still don't know why.
Because now
I called them back and I said, yeah, I asked you guys. And he said, oh, you totally should have done it. I'm like, why didn't you say that 15 years ago?
I'll tell you why. Your agents didn't want you blocked that time, whatever that time was, so that you couldn't earn good movie TV money. They didn't want you to be on a game show. All right. Well, now we have to move on to question time.
Okay.
This is question time.
It's question time.
The first question is, can he play a musical instrument?
I'm a bad guitarist and even worse bass player.
Fantastic.
That's it. I've always wanted to learn to play the drums. I have a saxophone I want to learn. There are a bunch of, I want to play every instrument, and I've settled for being a bad guitarist.
It seems like you should be, if you're a bad guitarist, you should be a better bassist. Like the bass should be easier.
The only reason have any bass experience at all is because I had a friend in high school who asked me to be a part of a band. And I found out later that it was, so I played the bass because he said there was this amazing guitarist, Brian Norman. And then my friend Scott was singing. This guy Jed on the drums. We played 3 shows. We played once at the Roxbury, where Rod Stewart was in the audience. That was very exciting. Our other show was Matthew Perry's, I think, his 21st birthday. We just played like 3 songs.
I might have been there.
I think he was 21. Okay. I can't remember. Those guys were buddies with him.
All right.
So I got to,
fun,
see him every once in a while back in the day. Yeah.
I used to play poker with him.
But anyway, so we played 3 shows. Forget what the third one was. And then my buddies had to inform me that the band was breaking up. And then a week later, a new band formed.
With a new bassist.
There was everybody with a new bassist who was good at bass and also had a big car.
The band
I was
called
basically playing the Suburban.
Exactly. The band was called New Bassist.
Yeah.
For the band. I'd like to hear him talking about playing Doug Kenney and how he approached the role. He was so funny and heartbreaking in that movie.
Thank you very much. That was a scary thing, and I'll tell you why. It was, there's no real footage of him other than the
Animal House
where he's playing a voice, and I think they might have found some audio, but there was no video that anybody could see. So I felt weird because I was basically making a guess of what he was like, which I don't think it was super important that I got his vocal affectations down. But the thing that I couldn't get over for a while was that all the people who did know him were my comedy heroes. So I'm like, I had this pressure of not wanting to let all these people down who did know him. I just wanted to convey his spirit without knowing what it was. So I did get to talk to some of his friends who told me what he was like, and that helped.
Timothy writes, since Christopher Nolan is a self-professed MacGruber, a self-professed fan of MacGruber, do you sometimes fantasize and imagine yourself as the star of a Tenet, Inception, or Memento style movie?
That would be an amazing. Yes. I mean, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to manifest it. I was going to say, I don't know, but why not say yes?
Chris Nolan
and try to manifest it.
Listens to this podcast weekly. He's a subscriber. So he'll hear this. So Chris Nolan, he's here.
Look, it was a thrill to hear that he had even seen the movie, let alone liked it. So that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough Christopher Nolan connection to me. If anything else comes, it is all gravy.
Yeah.
But
he watches
obviously,
it
how could
backwards.
you not want to be in something that he does?
No, he's great.
One of the best there is.
That guy writes, Last Man on Earth ended with a pretty big cliffhanger where a number of people were alive in an underground bunker. How would that have been resolved in a new season?
Okay. So the people who came out of the ground, they would have been living in a bunker that was kind of like Kristen Wiig's bunker, except it was a little more high tech. There were more people, and they had scientists who were down there with them who could have told them, studied the virus, known when it was dormant. So they're finally told by these scientists, hey, it's safe to go back up there. So when they get up there, they see the 7 of us walking around, and they're freaked out because we represent a huge threat to their lives. So that was them swarming around us. They would have put us into like some kind of glass encased
a zoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And then we would have, whatever famous person we could get to do it, we would have had be the leader of that group coming up, talking to us. We're trying to talk them into letting us out because clearly we're still alive, so we can't be a threat to them.
I'm going to say Tom Hanks.
I mean, yes,
Okay.
that'd be fantastic. So yes, eventually we wear them down, they let us out, but just because we are immune does not mean that we're not carriers. We infect them with the virus and it just rips through them like wildfire, and then except somehow the famous person who's the leader is
Tom Hanks.
Would survive if we could talk them into sticking around for a while.
Fantastic.
Now, how we would have ended the whole series, God knows. That was one of the benefits of being canceled.
Sure.
It's like not having that. I mean, imagine the pressure.
Yeah, everything ends.
Yeah.
Everything ends. So you don't just have to worry episode by episode, season by season. That's good. Ask him, Libra of Legend writes, ask him if Kia offered him a brand deal and if he would have the power to turn it down. Why would Kia? Because
there's a Kia Forte.
Okay.
I have talked about this. My wife has talked about this. It feels like a personal affront that they have not even made. I mean, I'd probably do it for a very, very little amount of money because it's just a kind of natural thing.
Can I advise you not
like
to?
Michael said, oh yeah.
Wait for the money. Let me just advise you have kids. Wait for the money.
But I mean, I have driven a Kia Forte before.
Steve Stolier asked, how did he select Al Hurt's Fancy Pants for that bizarre pantomime dance on SNL? And I'm trying to remember what that was. I can think of Casino Royale.
Casino Royale was the first one.
Right.
Well, here's an interesting one. Just so I want people to know this. The very first version of that sketch was the one with Peyton Manning. So John Lutz, the awesome John Lutz, came in with this song, Casino Royale, by
Herb Alpert.
And it's just like amazing. And I had this idea of a coach using a song or something to motivate that. So like we were like, oh, this works perfectly, and then we wrote it together. The dance wasn't even a part of it at first.
Right.
As I'm about to go turn it into the turn-in table, or I guess that's after you send it over the computer. I'm about to turn it in, and John said, "Why don't you do a dance? Why don't you do a dance at the table while the song's going?" I'm like, yeah, okay. And of course, that's the main part of the
That's all
sketch.
that the sketch is, yeah.
I mean, Peyton Manning is so funny and delivers those. He is fantastic. But like, thank you, Lutz.
Right.
Imagine that's
it.
Yeah. So anyway, I've done some recurring stuff, but I always want to try to do it a little bit differently. Like, MacGruber's always in the same. Somebody's always blowing up, but we'd always try to be doing different versions, because I just hate it when it's like the exact same thing. So we had turned in a version, another dance thing, which was like a military thing, where it was there was a battle that they were going through, and the the commander was trying to motivate them,
right,
and we thought it was really fun, and then it turns into another dance, which is Al Hurt's Fancy Pants, which I think Lutz had found that one again, and then Lorne picked it to go in the show, but then said that he wanted us to change it into a swim coach, which I love Lorne. I'm no
shade against Lorne.
Lorne, I love you, but I think I disagree.
Right.
That I think that the swim coach was
Life
too
and Death is
similar to the other
yeah.
coach, and it felt like just a little bit too similar to the other one.
Yeah.
So that's one that I
an hour before you came in, I was talking to James L. Brooks, who was here.
I thought that was him down there.
So, and he's one of my mentors, he's one of my heroes. I wrote a sketch years ago, the Tracy Ullman Show, and the sketch was a woman called her best friends over to meet her new boyfriend, and her new boyfriend is a ventriloquist dummy. And so she's talking about how she's fallen in love with this person who's just a dummy.
Yeah.
And she says, well, and they're trying to understand, like, you're crazy, right? He said, I'm not crazy. He says all the things I want him to say. He talks to me the way I want to be talked to. He gives me love the way I want to be loved. And they said, well, we can't sit here and allow you to be friends with you when you're just throwing your life away on this insanity. And they storm out, and she says, and the woman says, well, it's just you and me, babe. Then the ventriloquist dummy proceeds to break up with her. He just breaks her heart. And so I love that sketch. Tracy Ullman Show took it and eliminated the ending and just put a song at the end. And I was like, the whole point of it is for the ventriloquist dummy to break up with her. That's the whole point of it. And to this day, I'm burning with anger against the end of that.
I know it's a very personal thing sometimes.
Jeff Bushell, writer Jeff Bushell, who I know, asked.
I know Jeff Bushell.
Well, he says, please ask him the meaning of never glurred and bleebner.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that was just like one of the earliest things I did was write this cartoon book, and the cartoons, I was just starting to form myself as a comedian, and one of the cartoons was just like nonsense, and man, I forget. I don't know if it was Bushell or somebody that Bushell worked with who like had a real problem with it. Just was really mad that I did this nonsense thing.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so I'm the one with the problem? Not Bushell. I think Bushell, I think he just had passed on that somebody they worked with.
Bushell's all right. It's that other guy we hate.
Yeah.
That guy's a dick.
I didn't even hate him. I just felt
that
bad
guy's
for
a
him.
dick.
Like,
I hate that guy.
Clearly, like they were mad. But this was 1995. The very first thing I did, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry you didn't like it. It's the thing that Letterman hired me for.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm like, okay, I'll maybe accept my comedy heroes
approval
thought over. I mean, whatever. You have your opinion. I was very proud, and you're free to hate whatever. A lot of people have hated on a number of things that I've done.
JP asks, please list your top 5 middle-aged bald television actors in no particular order.
Jim Rash.
Okay. Right.
Because Jim and JP. No, I'm kidding. I mean JP Manu. I know this is JP. I'm not even. It's like I can't say anybody is above Jim Rash because he's
great,
the best there is.
He's been a guest on the show.
Tie JP with Jim Rash out of respect for JP because JP is also fantastic.
They're both very, very good.
But Rash, I have
one has an Academy Award.
He was one of the people that I went through the Groundlings together with, and that guy just is as talented as it gets.
Kevin Bernstein says, for real though, does he remember the "I am a tax-paying citizen" sketch in the Sunday Company?
How dare you? I certainly do. Kevin Ruff. Do you know Kevin Ruff?
Yeah, I think so.
One of the funniest people around. So we did that one together. I definitely remember that. It was just the two of us, screaming at each other. with these crazy wigs on. I'm a tax-paying citizen. I pay. It's all about how you pay your taxes so you can do whatever. But both of us are doing the same. How dare you? It was just a lot of how dare you.
Right. I like it. Well, now it's time for listener mail.
Okay.
Now it's time for listener mail.
From a listener named Wayne. Based on who you thought you were, at least at the very start, what's the single most surprising thing in your life, and how did you manage to get there? What twists and turns led you there, and why do you think you went against your nature to get there?
Wow, that's a big long question. Filled with a lot of twists and turns.
Right.
I always thought that I would have kids when I was like 27. And life changes and turns, twists and turns. And then when I was like, 48, 49, I was like, maybe it just doesn't exist. Maybe it's not what I thought was out there that I've been searching for doesn't exist. And then all of a sudden, boing, it's, it just was met the woman who's now my wife and had kids after thinking it probably wasn't in the cards, and it's the best. But I guess it doesn't really answer the question because it is who I thought I was.
You thought you'd be, but you thought you'd be earlier.
Was a different timeline. Right. I don't know. I think that the older I get, the more I realize I'm a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, not weird in a creative way, but weird like have
corpses in the basement?
Unpleasant things about no, but like OCD issues, different things that I still fucking idiot.
Everybody.
I haven't gone. No, I know, but like things that make it hard to live with me and my, so I'm really lucky to have a wife who puts up with all my shit and is just like very patient with me. And I mean, I have good qualities too, but like certainly, every day is not a parade.
That's all of us. We're all flawed people. We have pluses and minuses.
Right. I try to be a good person all the time, and sometimes I succeed, and sometimes I don't.
You're a very nice person. You were very nice about doing the show. You've been very sweet to most people I know. You're known as a very nice person.
Well, I try to be, but then sometimes
a fraternity douche.
Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm
Right.
You as with everything, it's like as long as you're always trying and you're but there are things I could do to make myself a better person, like going and seeing a therapist about this stuff. My wife's always like, go to a therapist, and I just like, I haven't gone yet. I've gone to a therapist. I just like busy doing stuff.
I'm going to go to my therapist tomorrow and talk about why you don't see a therapist.
Okay, good.
Yes, and
Let me know what you think.
Get an answer back.
Or what they say.
Because my family, therapy, come on, you come out of the womb and go straight to therapy. That's like the first thing that happes before the doctor hits you on the bed.
It's so healthy and it's so good.
I don't know how helpful it is, honestly. Here's the worst it is that you spend an hour talking about yourself to somebody. That's the worst that it is. The best it is you get insight and help if you can. Well, Will, thank you for being a guest on Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan. You're the best, and you're very kind to come and stay up. It must be 3 a.m. for you wherever you just came from.
Actually, you asked me for a coffee order, and this was like the perfect thing that kept me going. But this has been. I feel like we could just keep going for another couple hours.
I'm going to have to stop you. No, we're going to stop. Really.
Save it till post-therapy.
I've had enough. I'm just telling you, I've had enough.
What time is it? Oh, 2:50.
Yeah.
This is perfect timing.
Okay. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being here, our audience. Yeah. Please subscribe to Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan and write me at dbawjk@gmail.com if you have any criticisms, suggestions, or questions. And don't you be alone. Spend some time with somebody cool like Will. It was great. I had a great time. You can have a great time too. See you next time. Bye-bye.